We begin our top stories the second hour in Ghana, where the pre-tertiary teacher unions have declared an indefinite strike action with immediate effect following the failure of government to pay the 20% cost of living allowance COLA that they asked for. The unions are the Ghana National Association of Teachers, National Association of Graduate Teachers, Coalition of Concerned Teachers Ghana, and the Teachers and Educational Workers Union.
The unions declared a strike yesterday morning, 4th of July, at the press conference in Accra. Joining us, of course, this morning is journalist and political editor Wilberforce Asare. Good morning. Thanks for joining us, sir.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. It's pretty interesting what's going on. Aside the teacher strike, there's also some protests going on in Ghana. I hope we will get to that before the end of this conversation. But for a long time, the Ghanaian educational system has been praised for its consistency. What changed, and what's the implication of this strike for the students?
Well, so this particular strike, from the communication that we received from the unions, the four unions, is necessitated because of the high cost of living. And high cost of living, everybody knows, is as a result of the pressures that are coming on several economies globally from the COVID-19 pandemic and also from the Russia invasion of Ukraine. So currently in Ghana, inflation is about 27%. And that should tell you that prices have skyrocketed. When it comes to fuel prices, we are buying a liter of fuel for nearly 12 Ghana cedis. And that is unprecedented in our history. So indeed, the cost of living has risen as a result of these external pressures. Indeed, just 2 days ago, the President of the Republic directed the Finance Minister to begin engagement with the International Monetary Fund, the last lender of resource, to get a program so that the country can get its economy back on track. So there are internal and external pressures, and it is these pressures that the teacher unions are reacting to by demanding that government gives them some extra 20 to 30% of their salaries, which they term as cost of living allowance, in short, COLA.
Okay. So now, still speaking about the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations has invited the leadership of teacher unions to a meeting over their demands for the payment of COLA, the cost of living allowance, to its members. Has there been any response from any of the teacher union arms?
So this Labor Commission correspondence was issued yesterday, the 4th of July, 2022, and it is to 5 institutions. The first is the Ministry of Employment and Labor, the Ministry of Education, the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, and also the Director General of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, and then finally the Chief Executive Officer of the Fair Wages and Salary Commission. If you look at these 5 institutions, they are the institutions that deal with both labor issues in Ghana and education issues. And so the National Labour Commission is asking that these institutions should join forces and meet with the leaders of the teacher union, the 4 teacher unions, and to come up with a report within 7 days as to how to remedy the situation that they find themselves. Again, the Labour Commission is asking that as a result of this intervention, they are calling on the teacher unions to call off their strike. However, in Ghana, most striking institutions like to negotiate while they are in the strike than to negotiate outside the strike. So we do not know whether the teacher unions will listen to this appeal by the National Labour Commission to call off their strike as they begin negotiations. We don't know. They haven't corresponded or they haven't responded to the invitation by the National Labour Commission. So we're going to see what will transpire today. Again, we need to know that all these things happened yesterday in the evening. And so today is the best time to get a response from these teacher unions that are striking as to whether or not they would listen to the National Labour Commission. I think that it's also important to add that the Labour Commission has an option, which is to go to court and to seek a court order to stop the teachers from striking. again, this strike action affects all pre-tertiary institutions. In Ghana, pre-tertiary institutions are from the senior high school down to the junior high school, all the way to primary. And this situation actually raises a national security concern because parents will not be happy that their children are in school and are not attending classes. There's the likelihood of panic and what have you. And so it's a real situation of concern. Indeed, the Ghana Education Service just this morning has issued a statement directing all the authorities in various schools to ensure that there is peace in the campuses. And they are asking parents to remain calm, not to panic, to want to go and get their children from the school and all that. So there are serious concerns that arise, but we are hoping that today there will be some form of communication from the teacher unions, failure of which we believe the National Labour Commission will head to court to seek an injunction to stop the teachers from the strike while the negotiations are ongoing.
Well, I think there's also meant to be the West African Senior Secondary examinations coming up sometime in August. So this, might also be a challenge with that examination, if the schools are on strike or teachers are on strike. But aside that, there's the teacher strike we're talking about. There's also been protests in Ghana concerning the price of petrol for the last couple of days. And yesterday it got very violent. What, really is going on in Ghana? And, is this, really just a reflection of, heightened emotions concerning the inflation and the prices of goods and services?
Well, so the protest that you talk about happened last week, and it was a group calling itself Arise Ghana. Indeed, they had negotiations with the Ghana Police Service as to how the protest was going to go. Initially, they had wanted to protest from afternoon till late in the evening. The police felt that that will pose a security threat because on the cover of the night, they will not be able to provide adequate protection to the protesters, and they cannot guarantee that it will not turn into mayhem. Now, when they did not come to a point of agreement, the police had to go to court and get a court instruction or a court order asking that the protesters should protest from morning till 4 p.m. And it was supposed to be a 2-day strike. When the first day started, the protesters wanted to use a route that was not agreed upon with the police, and the police attempt to stop them ended up in them stoning the police, and the police responded by tear gassing the crowd. And that is what led to the challenges that we saw. In fact, several police officers, about 29 of them, got hurt, and some of them very seriously to the point that they needed surgery. Some protesters also got hurt and were taken to the hospital and all that. Those who were seen as rioting were arrested, and they have subsequently been arraigned in court, facing prosecution. So that is what it is. The second day of the protest was rather peaceful. The protesters were able to present a petition to the Minister for Finance and also a petition to the Speaker of Parliament. So it was day one of the protest that didn't go well. However, day two of the protest went very well, and they achieved what they wanted to achieve by pressing home the fact that they want the government to deal with rising cost of living, increases in fuel prices, and what have you. So that is it about the issue about protests in the country.
All right, thank you very much for shedding light on that, because we do recognize that the right to protest is a right, but must be done in accordance with the provisions of the law and the safety of others. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Wilberforce Asare. We do wish you an enjoyable rest of the day.